Whenever we speak of photography, I think that you and I can agree that we tend to gravitate towards a certain style. Me, for example, I love shooting weddings and events, whereas perhaps you watching this video, you're all about cars and architecture or landscapes and portraits, whatever you fancy. It's very important that you always gravitate to that because it's your calling. However, in today's video, the message I want to carry out is the fact that although you can do your best to be a master of your craft, you definitely don't want to pigeonhole yourself into just being known as that photographer. I think that we can all agree that we should venture outside of our comfort zone and shoot things that we normally would never shoot. Me, for example, I'm about to share a behind the scenes of a fashion shoot, sort of like a runway style photo shoot that I did for a friend of mine. And although I don't really search for this type of photography, I couldn't help but to accept the opportunity as it presented itself. So what you're about to see is a behind the scenes of what transpired, and hopefully you'll learn a little something about what I learned, tips and tricks, the gear. I'm going to be talking about the gear that I use, and let's have some fun. I figured that today it would be a great opportunity to mix things up a bit. And without further ado, I'm going to turn myself into a talking head circle and sort of do a voiceover narration of what transpired tonight. Alrighty, so as you can see, we are in Dorado, Puerto Rico. This is a city about maybe, I want to say like 25 minutes away from me. What you're seeing here is the ladies doing their little thing on a rooftop. This is actually on top of a huge Airbnb down below. And this was the venue that was chosen to put together this small and cozy fashion show for my friend Naomi, who was putting together her clothing line, Biso. I think you can see it from the banner out in the back here. So what you're seeing is a Peak design with a GoPro Hero 9 on top of it. This was actually shot in 4K and graded using cinema grade plugin for Premiere Pro. I've actually just recently got it, and it's made a wonderful difference in my editing. Hopefully it shows in this video. But yeah, I slapped on a sort of like a cinematic 70s retro look. I don't want to say it's a LUT because they labeled it as a look. So this is what I did. And as you can probably tell, I'm not in the frame. I'm the one taking the pictures, obviously. And so I wanted to briefly talk about the gear that I took for this fashion show. Hopefully by now you can appreciate the lovely ladies. This is Paola. She was probably one of my favorites. She definitely knows what she's doing. So in the frame, you can tell that I have two light stands. These are actually very brand new to me. They are from Neor. They are a whopping 13 feet tall if you want to go that high. And the reason why I got them is because I wanted to sort of mimic ceiling lights. That's why they're so tall. And they're very robust. They can probably hold their own in a windstorm. They are made from solid aluminum alloy. They even have air cushioning in the middle so that they can withstand heavy artillery and heavy weight thrown their way. On top of these, believe it or not, I was actually having constant lighting because I was curious as to how that will look to camera paired with my on-camera flash, which you can probably tell I'm using. So on these, I actually whipped out my brand new Amaran 60Xs from Aperture. These are by far one of the best bang for buck lights that's currently out on the market. I got two of these in the studio. I use the 100D version because I always like daylight. But for this matter, I wanted to use the X's in case I needed to match with the orange glow over there. So that's what I did. And I was pleasantly surprised. In order to power them, I actually paired them with a Watson V-mount battery that I got at B&H during my last trip to New York City this past September. That's actually where I got all of this equipment, and I brought it home with me. As you can probably tell as well, I have two softboxes, one of which is from Godox in about, I want to say 36 inches, whereas the other one is more along the lines of 24. Now I know they're not entirely the same, but they definitely did the trick. I will probably invest in, in a softbox that is the same size. These are the ones that I admittedly use here in my studio as I record this, but you know, they're portable and they can be taken with you anywhere you go. So that's the basically the gear that I used to light the ladies. As you can tell, they're going front to back, and to that point, my initial thoughts were to use my 85 f1.4 adapted to the R6, which of course is the camera that is not only recording this video, but is definitely the one that I choose to use when shooting images. And so again, I thought about using the 85, but I didn't want to be that photographer that had to walk back and forth with them, and I wanted to make life a little bit easier. And so I sacrificed you know, blowing out the background, because as you can see, those wooden planks in the background are not exactly the most flattering look. And so I instead chose to use the 70 to 200 during the duration of this of the shoot. And so I went with the 70 to 200 because it's just easier on the hand. You can easily zoom in and out and not have to worry about, you know, composition all that much, because it's literally in the power of your hand and you're in complete command. And so that's what I did. I think that the pictures came out unbelievably great. I threw them into Lightroom, and what I did is I edited the first few to make sure that I had the look that I was going for, and then I created a Lightroom preset within my my platform, and I simply batch edited the rest of the images so that I can make my life so much easier. If you're not using Lightroom, this feature in Lightroom, seriously consider doing that, because if you're, you know, dealing with something like constant lighting or a controlled environment, then you'd be hard pressed not to create a preset and slap that on so that you can make your life so much easier. Anyway, this is Paola Cristina. She was one of my favorites. She definitely knows what she's doing back there. What a gorgeous creature. Anywho, this is Paola Cristina. She's definitely one of my favorites. She modeled the best clothing in my opinion, and she definitely knows what she's doing back there. So now going into the ladies, these are all girls that are models and are pageant contestants. If I'm not mistaken, Adriana Sofia, who you see walking down the aisle here, is Miss Teen Puerto Rico, or was, or currently is, I can't really remember. But again, the point of this is the fact that they definitely know what they're doing. As you can see, they can strut their stuff. They repose at the side of my flash. They know what they're doing. They've done this before, and so they made life so much easier for me. And if I'm not mistaken, you will see Zoe, I think, is Miss Earth Puerto Rico. She's currently contesting as we speak. So I had, you know, a wonderful set of girls that made my life so much easier. And again, this is not something that I normally pursue, but I just couldn't help but to lend a helping hand to Naomi, the founder of this clothing line. Tiffany, as you can see, knows what the heck she's doing out there too. What a gorgeous kid. And so these girls, you know, lend a helping hand as well and said, hey, we'd love to model your attire. And we got all together and had a really good time. And so I guess the point of showing you this video is the fact that even though I personally am a wedding photographer and I want to be known as a wedding photographer, it's very important that we take any opportunity to create something that's out of our comfort zone and not necessarily pigeonhole ourselves, because at the end of the day, you know, we want to get better. And if we constantly shoot the same environment over and over again, and we know what to expect, then we normally wouldn't be able to venture outside of what we normally would gravitate to and get better. So yeah, I mean, I think that this night came out great. We enjoyed a little bit of rain there towards the end. We had to hide everything back again and set it up, but honestly, everything came out great. It was so smooth. I love the look to these pictures. As you can tell, I like a cinematic sort of orange and teal look to my pictures. Yeah, the rest, as they say, is history. I had a wonderful time. I think I can see myself doing this again if the opportunity presents itself. And You know, speaking of which, it's very important that you also consider creating your own opportunities. You know, in photography, you gotta make peace with the fact that we are in a luxury environment. I mean, you technically don't need a professional photographer for anything, especially with how great iPhone pictures are coming out. So at the end of the day, it's really important that you always keep an eye out on any opportunities that might present themselves, I should say. But also keep in mind that you can reach out to companies, you can do this and that and send proposals and, you know, slide into people's DMs and say, listen, I'm a fan of your clothing line. I would love to take an opportunity one day to show you what I got. Maybe, you know, gift you a runway show if you want to showcase, and I'll work for free in the event you like my pictures and we can strike a deal to move forward together. So that's not necessarily what I did here. Naomi admittedly reached out to me, but again, that's just an example of what can happen if you actually, you know, move your cards and shuffle them in the right direction and using the right, you know, approach to your marketing and advertising. Anyway, that was a cool picture. That was by far one of my favorites. She got really creative with the dress there. So yeah, this is I think the last one of these. Again, I had an absolute blast. I figured that we would do something a little bit different on this channel and sort of entertain you with, you know, what's life is like behind the scenes for me. It's not all, you know, weddings and stuff like that. I do venture out, and so Paola's gonna sort of take it away. What a great shot, huh? Shiny attire, but yeah, these are some of my favorites. You definitely hit the nail on the head. So there you have it. That's basically the gist of it. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed that behind the scenes narration of what actually transpired. And so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and read some comments from my last video that I promised I would be moving forward on this channel. So if you want to get shout out on this channel, hey, definitely leave a comment below and let me know what you think of this video. Anyway, here we go. Asmil Tan. I hope I'm getting that right. This is a very inspiring, man. I am 35 years old now, and I have been in my line of work for 10 years, but haven't been passionate about photography. So I'm trying to learn as much now to make the change. That's actually really cool. I think that, you know, if you want something badly enough, you're gonna do, you know, whatever it takes to achieve it. You know, you can move mountains and get educated. That's definitely the first thing that I recommend doing so that you put yourself in a position to succeed. Old Man at Uni and Old Man Taking Pictures says, firstly, beautiful editing and well documented, really nice touches that you have added over your other vlogs. Thank you for your open and candid vlog. Great work. I appreciate you, Ian. Thank you so much for stopping by yet again. Yeah, I think that at the end of the day, I think we should always use our platforms to, you know, showcase our genuine and authentic self. And I think I have, ever since I opened this YouTube channel, I've been very, to use your word, candid with how I feel and how I think about, you know, whether it's a product review or anything like that. So appreciate you stopping by. Steven Spencer says, thank you for sharing your experience. The corporate world has a way of sucking the life out of you. In time, you will ask yourself why you didn't do this earlier. I wish you nothing but success. Hey, thank you so much, Steven. I appreciate that as well. Yeah, corporate ladders are very tough to climb. And so that was actually admittedly another reason why I kept, you know, being on the fence about coming and going and coming and going. And so it wasn't overnight that happened, but, you know, yeah, I definitely concur with the fact that I was wishing about 2 months ago that I had pulled the trigger a little bit earlier. So kudos to you on that. Thank you for your well wishes. So there you have it. I hope that today's video has been a little bit of value for you. And if it did, hey, stick that thumb you know where. And if you want to watch more videos like this one where hopefully you grow as not just a person, but as a photographer, then stick around. I would love to have you. My name is Francis, and I will bid you farewell. I will definitely see you in the next video.